There's a quiet moment in the morning, right before that first sip of coffee, when your body is making decisions you don't feel. Decisions about strength, balance, and how confidently you'll move through the rest of your day. Most people never notice it happening, but with every year after 60, that moment matters a little more. I've spent over 25 years in clinical nutrition, working with thousands of older adults who want the same thing, to stay strong enough to live life on their own terms. And if there's one pattern I've seen again and again, it's that your morning coffee isn't just a routine, it's an opportunity. Your muscles wake up in a state that's far more sensitive than most people realize. And the first things you give your body can shape how you move for the next 12 hours. This isn't about giving up coffee. In fact, coffee brings real advantages: circulation, alertness, and a gentle metabolic lift. The surprising part is how easily you can build on that foundation. A few simple additions, not exotic powders or expensive supplements, but everyday nutrients, may help your muscles feel more supported, more energized, and more ready for the small challenges that make up your day. I've watched seniors who struggled with stairs regain their steadiness. I've seen men who felt their grip weakening find that familiar sense of control again. Not through dramatic overhauls, but through quiet, consistent choices in the first hour of the morning. So, as we walk through this together, think about the version of you who wants to keep doing the things that matter: carrying groceries, tending a garden, walking without hesitation. Your coffee can become the first step in supporting that person. And the science behind how this works may surprise you. Your muscles tell a quieter story after 60. They're still responsive, still capable, but they don't receive signals the way they used to. Even the simplest morning routine can shape how they behave for the rest of the day. And when you understand what's happening beneath the surface, the changes you make start to feel less like guesswork and more like partnership. As we age, the body naturally shifts into what researchers call anabolic resistance. It sounds complex, but the idea is simple. The signals that once told your muscles to rebuild now speak in a softer voice. Protein doesn't activate muscle repair as strongly. Inflammation whispers a little louder. And overnight fasting leaves your body in a gentle state of breakdown unless you give it something to interrupt that pattern. That's where your morning window matters. In the first hour after waking, your cells are unusually attentive. They're looking for amino acids, anti-inflammatory compounds, and steady energy sources that can help the body switch from breaking down to building up. When you pair coffee with targeted nutrients, you're creating a calm environment where your muscles can respond again. Research supports this idea. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that adults over 60 who consumed a meaningful amount of protein early in the day showed stronger muscle protein synthesis throughout the next several hours. Another study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition observed that leucine-rich protein helped older adults overcome that quiet resistance and support lean mass. And when inflammation is part of the picture, findings published in Nutrients suggest that certain natural compounds, like curcumin paired with piperine, may support mobility and comfort. But the science only matters if it translates into everyday life. And that's where simple additions to your morning coffee come in. They don't overhaul your routine. They meet your muscles where they are. And some of these additions work together in ways most people never realize. 1. Ceylon Cinnamon. There's a quiet pattern I've noticed in many adults over 60. Their mornings begin with energy that rises fast and falls even faster. By early afternoon, strength feels thinner, legs feel heavier, and concentration slips for reasons they can't quite explain. The truth is gentler than it sounds. Your muscles depend on steady blood sugar, and after 60, that stability becomes harder to maintain. Ceylon Cinnamon offers a small but meaningful shift. It carries natural polyphenols that may help your body respond more gracefully to glucose. Think of them like calm hands on the wheel, softening the sharp curves that strain your muscles throughout the day. When blood sugar swings, the body turns to muscle tissue for emergency fuel, When it steadies, your muscles feel supported instead of drained. Half a teaspoon stirred into warm coffee is usually enough. Choose Ceylon. Its chemistry is cleaner and easier on your liver than the common cassia variety. Many seniors tell me they begin noticing the difference not as a burst of energy, but as an absence of collapse. Days feel smoother. The 2 p.m. slump grows quieter. I remember a retired engineer who once told me he felt like afternoons were stealing hours from him. He wasn't looking for a miracle, just a way to stay present longer. Cinnamon didn't fix everything, but it softened the edges of his day, and that was enough to bring back his evening walks. If your mornings begin well but fade quickly, this simple addition may help your muscles feel less rushed and more supported. Sometimes the smallest shift is simply giving your body the stability it's been trying to regain. 2. Unsweetened cocoa. If you've noticed your legs feeling heavier during walks, or if stairs have started to feel steeper than they used to, it may not be weakness. It may be circulation quietly slowing down as the years stack up. Your muscles rely on tiny vessels to carry oxygen and nutrients into their deepest layers, and those vessels stiffen naturally with age. Unsweetened cocoa holds a gift many people overlook. Rich in flavonols, it may help those vessels relax, opening pathways that feel like a slow, steady exhale inside the body. When blood flow improves, muscles receive what they need more easily. Steps feel lighter, movements feel smoother, and the world feels a little less uphill. A single tablespoon stirred into coffee works well. It blends smoothly, adds a deep richness without sugar, and begins supporting circulation long before you notice it. This isn't a stimulant. It's more like widening a narrow road so traffic can move again. One of my patients, a grandmother in her early 70s, told me she used to pause halfway through her morning walk because her legs felt like concrete. She added cocoa, not out of faith, but out of curiosity. Weeks later, she realized she was walking farther without noticing, as if her body had simply rediscovered an easier rhythm. If walking has become something you endure instead of enjoy, cocoa may offer a gentle nudge in the right direction. Circulation is the silent partner of strength. When it moves freely, the rest of you does too. 3. MCT oil/coconut oil. There's a pattern many adults over 60 quietly accept, feeling steady one moment and unexpectedly shaky the next. That mid-morning dip, the one that makes your hands feel less certain or your focus blur, often has nothing to do with willpower. It's simply that your cells aren't using glucose as efficiently as they once did. And when glucose falters, your muscles and brain feel it almost immediately. MCT oil offers a different kind of morning fuel. Unlike regular dietary fats, medium-chain triglycerides take a shorter, more direct path in your metabolism. They can be converted into ketones quickly, a form of energy your brain and muscles often accept more gracefully with age. Think of ketones as a steadier flame, not bright and brief like sugar, but calm and enduring. Half a teaspoon blended into coffee is enough to begin. Blending matters. It turns the oil into a smooth, creamy texture your stomach can tolerate more easily. Over time, if your body handles it well, you can gradually increase toward a teaspoon, but the goal isn't quantity, it's stability. I remember a man in his late 60s who told me he used to feel his hands tremble slightly before lunch, especially on days he skipped breakfast. Adding MCT oil didn't give him a jolt, it gave him a foundation. His mornings stopped feeling like a tightrope walk. His energy stretched farther, and his thoughts felt clearer, as if someone had gently turned up the lights. If your mornings feel unpredictable, or if you sense your energy slipping too quickly, this small addition may help your muscles and brain find a steadier rhythm. Aging doesn't have to feel like running on fumes. Sometimes it's simply about giving your body a fuel source it can trust again. 4. Milk or fortified. Soy. Milk. When you wake up, your muscles haven't received nutrients for nearly 12 hours. During that time, your body shifts into a gentle state of breakdown, especially after 60, when protein signals don't reach your muscles as clearly as they once did. That's why the first protein of the day carries more weight than most people realize. Adding milk or fortified soy milk to your coffee seems almost too simple, but simplicity is often where the body responds best. Half a cup provides a meaningful dose of complete protein, amino acids your muscles can use right away to interrupt that overnight breakdown. It's like handing your muscles a morning blueprint. Here's what we're building today. For those who tolerate dairy well, organic whole milk offers both protein and beneficial fats that slow digestion just enough to extend your energy. For those who prefer plant-based options, fortified soy milk mirrors dairy's amino acid profile more closely than almond, oat, or rice milk ever could. Those options are fine for flavor, but they simply don't deliver the protein your muscles are quietly asking for. A woman in her early 70s once told me she had watched her arms grow thinner. Over the years, even though her weight stayed the same, she believed it was inevitable, just part of aging. All she changed was adding soy milk to her morning coffee. Months later, she noticed she was opening jars more confidently and carrying her groceries without needing to switch hands. It wasn't dramatic. It was steady, almost unnoticed progress, the best kind. If your grip feels less certain, or your arms look smaller than they used to, this simple addition may help your muscles feel acknowledged again. Protein doesn't shout, it supports. And first thing in the morning, your body hears it more clearly than at any other time of day. 5. Collagen powder. There's a certain kind of stiffness that doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly, knees that don't bend as smoothly, hands that feel a little less willing in the morning, a back that asks for just one more moment before straightening. These changes aren't only about muscles. Much of what you feel comes from the connective tissues that hold everything together. Collagen plays an essential role in that deeper support network. After 60, your natural production slows down, and the tendons and ligaments that once felt springy begin to feel tired. What makes collagen remarkable is that it delivers the very amino acids those tissues rely on: glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. They're not easy to get in meaningful amounts from a regular diet, but they dissolve beautifully into a hot cup of coffee. One scoop is enough. There's no taste, no texture, just a quiet infusion of raw materials your body recognizes instantly. The heat of the coffee helps the powder dissolve, and many older adults tell me the change feels subtle at first. Movements that once felt tight begin to soften, and the body feels less resistant when transitioning from sitting to standing. There's a man I worked with, an avid gardener in his 70s, who had almost given up kneeling beside his plants. The strain on his knees made his hobby feel like a burden. Adding collagen didn't transform him overnight, but months later, he sent me a photo of his garden bed, lush, freshly tended, and full of work he hadn't been able to do for years. Sometimes improvement doesn't look dramatic. It looks like returning to the things you love. If your joints feel older than the rest of you, collagen may help your body rediscover a sense of ease. It's not about turning back time. It's about moving through your day with less resistance and more comfort. 6. Whey. Protein Isolate. There's a specific moment many men and women describe to me, the day they notice their arms look thinner, or a familiar task suddenly feels heavier. It's not weakness, it's not failure. It's the natural shift into anabolic resistance, where your muscles simply don't react to protein signals the way they once did. Whey Protein Isolate offers a way to speak to your muscles in a language they still understand clearly. Unlike most proteins, whey is rich in leucine, an amino acid that acts like a key turning on the machinery of muscle repair. When leucine reaches a certain threshold, mTOR, your body's main muscle-building switch becomes active again. For adults over 60, that threshold is higher than it used to be, which is why whey can make such a noticeable difference. A small scoop dissolves easily into hot coffee. The warmth helps it blend smoothly. avoiding the chalkiness people often worry about. And because Whey Isolate has most of the lactose removed, it tends to sit well, even for those who struggle with dairy. I remember a retired teacher in her late 60s who told me she no longer trusted her strength when carrying groceries. She felt fine on the outside, but her arms seemed to give out more quickly than before. 8 weeks after adding whey to her morning coffee, she mentioned something small but meaningful. She could carry every bag in one trip again. It wasn't about lifting heavy things. It was about feeling capable. If you've noticed your strength fading in ways that feel unfamiliar, Whey Protein Isolate may help your muscles respond again. It doesn't promise youth. It simply supports the signals your body has relied on its entire life, signals that still work as long as they're given clearly. 7. Ground Chia seeds. There's a quiet kind of fatigue many older adults describe, not the exhaustion that sends you to bed, but the kind that settles into your joints, your digestion, and the small transitions of your day. It's the feeling of being slowed down from the inside. Often this isn't just aging, it's inflammation, low omega-3 intake, and irregular digestion gently stacking up over time. Freshly ground chia seeds offer a simple, natural way to support these areas all at once. When you grind them, you unlock their nutrients, complete plant-based protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and soluble fiber. Each of these plays a different role, yet together they create a kind of steady internal balance many older adults haven't felt in years. 1 teaspoon stirred into warm coffee is enough to start. Ground chia dissolves more easily than whole seeds and adds a mild, nutty warmth. The protein may help support your muscles, especially if dairy isn't an option for you. The omega-3s offer gentle support for inflammation, and the fiber works in the background, helping your digestion move more comfortably. I once worked with a man in his early 70s who felt his days shrinking, not because he didn't want to do things, but because his energy kept dipping before he could finish them. His digestion felt sluggish, his joints resisted motion, and even small tasks required more effort than they used to. After a few weeks of adding ground chia to his morning coffee, he told me something simple yet profound. I feel like my body is cooperating with me again. Aging doesn't have to feel like resistance. Sometimes it's about giving your body the nutrients it's quietly been missing. Freshly ground chia seeds don't demand big changes. They simply support your day from the inside, in ways you feel gradually but steadily, exactly the way real improvement should unfold. 8. Turmeric plus black pepper. There's a kind of stiffness that settles into the body as the years pass. Not sharp pain, but a deep, steady tension that makes movement feel cautious. Many adults over 60 think of it as an unavoidable part of aging, but often it's the buildup of low-grade inflammation that has been whispering quietly for years. Turmeric carries compounds that speak directly to that inflammation. Curcumin, its key active ingredient, offers gentle support for joint comfort and mobility. But on its own, curcumin is difficult for the body to absorb. That's why pairing turmeric with just a pinch of black pepper, which contains piperine, can dramatically increase absorption. It's a small addition with a significant effect. Half a teaspoon of turmeric with a small pinch of black pepper stirred into warm coffee is enough. The heat helps release the compounds your body uses, and the pepper ensures they're not wasted. Some prefer to start with a 1/4 teaspoon and build up, allowing their palate to adjust gradually. I once worked with a woman in her early 70s who had nearly given up her morning walks because her knees felt too tight. She tried medications, stretching routines, even special footwear. Nothing seemed to stay consistent. When she added turmeric and pepper to her coffee, the change didn't arrive overnight. But a few weeks later, she realized she'd walked farther without thinking about discomfort. And months later, those morning walks became a part of her joy again, not her struggle. Turmeric won't erase the years, but it may help quiet the internal noise that makes movement feel harder than it needs to be. When your muscles and joints feel supported from within, Each step feels a little more confident, a little more free. When we bring all of this together, the beauty is in how simple the routine remains. Your morning doesn't need to feel crowded or complicated. In fact, the goal is the opposite, to create a moment of calm where your body receives exactly what it's been asking for. In the first hour of the day, with the right rhythm, these additions don't feel like supplements. They feel like support. Most people find it easiest to begin with just a few ingredients. Think of it as laying the foundation for a house. Cinnamon helps smooth the internal landscape, milk or fortified soy. Milk brings the essential protein your muscles have been quietly waiting for. And turmeric with a touch of pepper offers a sense of ease that settles into your joints. These three alone can shift the tone of your morning. Once that feels comfortable, you can add collagen for deeper joint support, Chia for steady digestion and gentle inflammation balance, or cocoa for circulation. There's no perfect order. Your body will tell you what feels right. Some prefer extra energy and add MCT oil early. Others want strength and choose to include whey protein. And some simply stop at the essentials, which is perfectly fine. The timing matters more than most people realize. Drinking this enhanced coffee before breakfast gives your muscles a calm, clear environment to absorb the nutrients. Waiting 20 to 30 minutes afterward allows everything to settle before the rest of your day begins. It's a quiet moment, the kind most of us rush through without noticing, but your body notices. What you're creating isn't just a drink, it's a morning signal, a way of telling your muscles, your joints, your energy, and your independence, I'm supporting you today. And over time, that message becomes something you can feel, not in a dramatic flash, but in the steady return of tasks that once felt just beyond reach. As we reach the end of this conversation, I want you to notice something important. None of these additions were drastic. None required a complete change in how you live. They were simple choices, quiet adjustments to the part of your morning you already do without thinking. And yet, those small choices carry weight, especially after 60, when the body listens more closely to the signals you give it. Your muscles may not respond the way they once did, but they haven't forgotten how. They simply need clearer instructions, steadier energy, and an environment that supports rebuilding rather than breakdown. A pinch of cinnamon, a scoop of protein, a touch of turmeric. None of it is dramatic on its own, but together they create a morning foundation that helps you move through your day with more steadiness, more comfort, and more confidence. And that confidence matters. It shows up when you lift a grocery bag without hesitation, when stairs feel less intimidating, when a walk becomes something to enjoy again rather than endure. Those aren't small victories. They're the building blocks of independence, the quiet freedom that lets you keep doing the things and living the moments that matter most. As you consider what we've covered today, ask yourself one simple question. What part of my morning could support me better? There's no right or wrong answer. Just begin where it feels natural and let your routine grow from there. If today's conversation offered you something useful, I'd encourage you to share it with someone who might need a gentler path towards strength. And if you'd like to walk further into this journey together, I'll be here, each week exploring new ways to help your body feel capable, steady, and ready for the days ahead. You deserve to feel strong in your own life. Every morning is a chance to move in that direction.